Hello bookish people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and in today's video we are going over my best and worst books of 2023 all in one video. Honestly, this is not like a strict favorites video. Like I don't have a top 10 list because this channel is all about self-care, and self-care is not eliminating 5-star reads so that they fit into like a perfectly like these are my best 10 books of 2023 list. No, these are just like all the books that I love. I reflect on 2023. I'm like, these are the ones that I loved. Overall, I would say 2023 was not my best reading year. I read 109 books, which is crazy compared to 2022 where I read 160 books. So definitely a decrease there. And also I feel like the books that I was reading, I wasn't really enjoying that much. I don't know. I got into a reading slump that I felt like I could never really find my way out of. And it was just not my best year. So we are hoping for a really amazing year in 2024 because we're all about positive minds and positive mindsets. No dwelling on the negatives. Now, I do want to say these are not in any particular order except for 2 of them are clear like first place winners, and even then I couldn't narrow those first place winners down to a first and second place. They're pretty equal to me. So all these other books are just kind of on equal playing fields, I would say. So let's just get started. The first book we have is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. This book is about a young woman, and she is a lesbian and she is also an atheist, and she decides to, and she also deals with an anxiety disorder, and she decides to get a job at this church where she basically has to hide her identity, hide her religious beliefs, and also deal with her massive anxiety. And oh my god, I loved this book so much. I rated it 5 stars, which honestly I think all these books I rated 5 stars. There's some anxiety rep in the books that I'm like, I don't relate to that, and there's others where I'm like, like my brain is functioning the same way as yours, and it just feels comforting. And yeah, I actually really loved this book. The next book we have is Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson, which honestly, similar titles and aesthetically, these books look so nice together. Like I love the combo. This is a mystery thriller book. It's probably one of the most unique mystery thriller books I have ever read. I just loved everything about this book. I rated it 5 stars. The only thing that I have in terms of regrets in this book is I wish I would have read this book physically because I listened to the audiobook, and while the audiobook narrator did an amazing job, I just really feel like a book like this to me is best physically read. Like, I don't know, like the Thursday Murder Club type books, like this type of book. Some mysteries I can listen to an audio. Other mysteries, I just feel like it's just something about reading them that you just like process the information differently or you remember things more, and I would have benefited from that in this book. You're following our main character. His name is Ernie Cunningham. He is a crime fiction writer, and he is going to this family reunion, and this family reunion is taking place because his brother is getting out of jail for murdering somebody. And then during the course of the book, he's kind of going over all his different family members and all the ways that they have also killed somebody. And it's basically about the dark secrets of this family, but told in a really fun way. There is this murder that happens at the family reunion of some complete stranger, and he is trying to figure out the case. And again, it's just super fun, super unique, and I highly recommend it. And I am super excited for the sequel to this book that is coming out January 30th. The next book we have is The Cause Preservation Society by John Scalzi. This is a book that has been on my mind so much as of late. I've been dying to do a reread of this. This book I actually read physically versus the audiobook, and I absolutely loved my experience with it. In this book, you are following our main character, and after the pandemic happens, he loses his job and he basically becomes a door dasher, but it's like some fictional company. And one of the guys that he is consistently door dashing to offers him a job. He's like, I don't think you really want to do this. Like, why don't you come work for me in this top secret government thing? He goes and he takes them to another world where there's Kaiju there, and they are the Kaiju Preservation Society. So this book is just so much fun. I highly recommend it. It is an adult sci-fi, so the fact that it's an adult sci-fi that I physically read and rated 5 stars just means it's an amazing book, right? Because I am not a sci-fi girly. The only other sci-fi I like besides this one is Sleeping Giants and that whole trilogy. And this one, I am happy to say, is a 5 star. I am so excited to read Starter Villain by John Scalzi because this book is kind of everything to me, and this made me realize, oh wait, I actually do like the sci-fi genre. So hats off to John Scalzi for getting this romance girly to love sci-fi as well. And yeah, 5-star read, highly recommend. And honestly, it is a very short read. It's honestly like 250 pages, so you could breeze through this. The next book we have is honestly not one book, it is 3 books. It is a trilogy, and all of them are on my favorites list because this trilogy stole my heart in 2023. And that is the Renegades trilogy by Marissa Meyer. So we have Renegades, Arch Enemies, and Supernova. I will definitely be reading this at some point in my lifetime because reading this one time just is not enough. I know this is a series that I will probably read twice, 3 times, maybe even 4 times, because I just love this so much. In this series, you're following our 2 main characters, Nova and Adrian, and they are both on the opposite sides of this war of heroes versus villains. Nova is a villain. Her uncle was Ace Anarchy. He was like this head honcho villain, and then the heroes of the world took him out, and now all the villains have been living underground. And Nova decides to infiltrate the heroes and become one of them. So she is kind of like playing double agent, playing both sides. She meets Adrian, they fall in love. He is like the son of these 2 massive heroes of the group. And honestly, I'm doing a terrible job at describing this because I'm doing this off the top of my head. I didn't write a script going into this video, and that is why the description's not so great. But you know what is great? These books, highly recommend. They were all 5 stars. And even when I talked about these in videos, I had people commenting saying that they absolutely love this book. They are 5-star reads as well. So if you don't trust me, you trust the majority, because the majority of people I talk about this trilogy love it. The next book we have is another YA fantasy, and that is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. And honestly, love the cover, cute and stunning, but honestly, the naked hardcover, even more stunning and gorgeous. We absolutely love it. So this book honestly took me by surprise. I really only read this book because Foxglove was coming out, and I was like, oh, let me do an explaining of the plot video to Belladonna. Since Foxglove's coming out, let's see how it does, because my other explaining the plot videos have done well. I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did, and I ended up rating it 5 stars. It is a gothic fantasy novel. Like, I feel like if you tell me gothic fantasy, to me that doesn't intrigue me. It doesn't make me love it. I feel like gothic fantasy sounds like dark, dreary, and depressing, not what I like to read. But this completely changed my mind on the gothic fantasy like genre, because oh my god, I just fell in love with this book. And if you love The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, specifically if you love the relationship between Addie and Luke, you will love this book, because this gives me such Addie and Luke vibes. Of course, it's not really the same, but the vibes are there. So if you love that, you'll love this. The next book we have is a romance novel, and that is Playing Hard to Get by Monica Murphy. This book is one book that I started reading on my Kindle like at 5 a.m. in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, and I did not do anything for the rest of the day until this book was completed. I read the whole book in one sitting, which is honestly really rare for me, and oh my god, I just loved every moment of this book. I love the relationship between our 2 main characters, and this, I think I have stumbled onto a new favorite trope. I have like the athlete and the smart girls tutoring him and they fall in love. Is that a trope? I don't know, but if it is, I love it. What I really loved about this book is that the characters are like emotionally mature. There's not a ton of drama. Like, once they get together, they're together, and they don't really have too much drama or conflict. We are just there for the cozy, happy vibes of this relationship. I don't love romance novels that have all these breakups, toxicity, and drama. Like, I love when they get together, stay together, and we're just there for the happiness and the smiles. That was this book. I cannot wait to continue on in this series. And yeah, rated this 5 stars, had to buy a physical copy, and I definitely want to reread this one. The next book we have is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and oh my god, I love this book so much. Last year I read Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and that was one of my favorite books of 2022. So it's no surprise that she's on my favorites list for 2023, and hopefully we can keep the pattern up in 2024. So this book, you're following our 2 main characters. They are both doctors. They kind of have this situation in the beginning of the book where she thinks the main male lead is an asshole, and he's like, oh wait, no, I'm sorry, like, I didn't mean to be an asshole. And he writes her these letters. They start talking on the phone, and there's one point where he literally is like outside at this cafe, and he's talking on the phone to her because it's the only place he can get cell reception, and he's sitting at this cafe for like 3-4 hours. He's getting like bug bites, rained on, I don't know, there was something going on where he was kind of feeling uncomfortable. Like, I thought it was bug bites, or was it Rick Rain? I don't remember, but like, he was still on the phone with her because like he didn't care about the physical discomfort he was in. He just wanted to talk to her. He was the sweetest book boyfriend I have ever encountered in my life, and honestly, I think we need to like reclassify this book as a fantasy book. This is not romance, this is fantasy, because this man, he does not exist in the real world. Like, I have never met a man that is as kind as this man. Like, this is a fantasy novel. It's not romance, but I loved every moment of it. I highly recommend, and I rated it 5 stars. The next 2 books we have are my #1 books of the year. We're not picking 1 and 2. They're both #1 because, again, self-care. Why do we need to pick a favorite? Because they're both my favorites. The first one should come as no surprise, because this book you're probably going to see on so many booktubers' best books of the year, but you will also see it equally probably on so many booktubers' worst books of the year. And that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. But you know what? It is on my favorites list because I loved it. I enjoyed every second of it. What can I say? I just loved it. I get there's criticisms of this book, and I do see some of the criticisms as valid, like the world building and like all these different things. Like, I get it, see your points, but I still loved it. The emotions this book gave me, like, I was literally crying while reading this book. Like tears coming down my face. And like for some, that might just be like a regular thing for you. I do not cry at books. Like it is so hard for a book to emotionally pull me to cry, and this book accomplished that. So that is part of the reason why I love it so much. Like that just shows how powerful this story was to me. I love the relationship. Of course, I love Xaden. Like just everything about this book was perfection to me. I desperately want to reread it. I finished Iron Flame. I really liked it, but this one, Iron Flame's not on this list. This book is on this list. And the last favorite book of 2023, the one that kicked off my year in January, is Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I love this book so much that I have this copy, obviously, that I got from Dragonsteel. But I also bought like the regular published version of it, like the one you get at Target. I bought that one too because I was like, I need to reread and annotate this book. And I didn't want to mess up this edition because this edition is stunning. So I did not want to mess it up. So I bought the regular edition as well. And this book I will definitely be doing a reread of because this book is everything to me. Like, oh my God, this book just captured my heart. It's basically an adult fairy tale novel. You're following Tress, who's stuck on this island. She sneaks off the island to save the love of her life, and it's about all the adventures that she encounters doing it. There's just so many reasons I love this story. I love all the characters. Every character in this book is likable. The pacing of this novel is really great. Like I was always intrigued. I was always glued to the page. There was never a dull, boring moment. And also the world building of this book, phenomenal, fantastic. Like the thing that happens with the sea in this book, how the sea is not a traditional sea, but the sea is a spore sea, and like all the things that come with that, like it was just so interesting. It added all these interesting elements to the book as well. Like there was never a dull moment. I was utterly captivated by this book. I absolutely loved it. And this was the first Brandon Sanderson book I have ever read. And so yeah, 5 stars, one of my favorite books of 2023, top two. Well, it's in first place. This and Fourth Wing, both in first place. I make the rules. Now we are moving on to my honorable mentions. So we are gonna rapid fire through these. There's really not that many. These are ones that I pulled as my favorites, and then I was like, wait, these aren't actually my favorites. Like, I don't know. They just like didn't feel like they belonged in the same category as Fourth Wing, Yours Truly, Trust of the Emerald Sea. But I obviously really love these books, and I didn't want to discount them either. So honorable mentions is the title they receive. Okay, let's go through it. The first one we have is Suburban Hell by Maureen Kilmer. This is a horror novel. Technically, it's not very scary at all. You're following a group of housewives that they're all friends, and one of them builds a she shed in her backyard. And while building this she shed, she accidentally unleashes this demonic force that like takes over her body. And it's about all her friends trying to figure out what's going on and save her soul. And oh my God, this book was so much fun. I absolutely loved it. I bought this book on Audible. I highly recommend the audiobook. I think the narrator did an amazing job. Everything about this I loved, and it will definitely be a reread for me in October this year. The next book we have is The Husbands by Chandler Baker. This is my first and only Chandler Baker book I have ever read, but I am so excited to read more of her work after reading this one because I just absolutely fell in love with this book. So in this book, you are following this couple and they go to move into this like gated community, like HOA neighborhood, kind of think Stepford wise, but like the roles reverse, like gender swap Stepford wise. All these husbands are doing like the most, right? They are doing basically what a housewife would do. They're picking up the kids from school. They are working, and they were also doing the grocery shopping, doing the laundry. And these wives are just like these powerful career women living their best lives. And this couple that goes into her, the wife is like, what parallel universe did we walk into that the husbands are doing all this stuff? And so she decides, okay, we're gonna buy a house in this community. And while she's doing that, she realizes the sinister reason why all the husbands act the way they do. This book has so many powerful quotes, like even just like the very beginning of this book, like this page right here starts off with a bang. And it says, because women can do anything, but they can't do everything. And I have never heard a more relatable quote in my entire life. And this book was everything. I rated it 5 stars, and I highly, highly, highly recommend. Honestly, we shouldn't even have this as an honorable mention. We should have this as a favorite because of the social commentary, how relatable it is, and the fact that it was entertaining and it was a 5-star read. It's moving to a favorite spot. It's coming out of the honorable mentions. The next book we have, another honorable mention, we have You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Barron. This is a YA horror, and honestly, I feel like I love YA horror now. Maybe it's like a new favorite genre of mine. Even though this is the only one I've read. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I guess because so many YA horror synopsises, I am so interested in all those books, and this is like one I actually read, and I loved it. I don't know what I rated. I think I rated this book 5 stars. Anyway, so in this book, you are following our main character, and she works at this, like kind of think Halloween Horror Nights camp place. This book reminds me a lot of American Horror Story 1984, like that season of American Horror Story where they're all at the campgrounds. So they put on this show where they basically scare people. They come, they get scared, and then she plays the final girl. And then they start doing their like performance, and someone is really dying and they have to figure it out because someone is actually hunting them down. This book was so much fun. It was like, I just basically think summer camp slasher. And the ending of this book, was everything. Oh my god, I love the ending so much. I just highly recommend. I rated it 5 stars. Then the last 2 books I have here go together because honestly, I read them back to back. And I feel like when you start reading series and you read them back to back to back, you kind of forget what happens in each book. Like they all just kind of blur together into one book. So that is the Crowns of Naxia duology. So we have The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and we have The Ashes of the Star-Cursed King, both by Carissa Broadbent. And oh my god, have I found a new favorite author in Carissa Broadbent, because these books were absolutely everything. I was absolutely obsessed with them, and I thought these were going to be my favorite books of the year. But that doesn't mean I love these books any less. I just, honestly, once I read Fourth Wing, I kind of forgot the plot to this book. I kind of forgot what happens, especially in The Ashes of the Star-Cursed King. I really forgot what happens in this book now that I have read Fourth Wing. I don't know why that happened, but it happened. I'm very excited to continue on in this series because although this is a duology, she is continuing this series, but she's going to have them done in duologies. So each duology focuses on different characters, but it's one overarching story. So unfortunately, we are leaving Oriah and Rain in these books, but we are going to focus on a character that I absolutely fell in love with in these books in the next set of books. So I'm very excited for that. And I definitely want to go back and read Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent because yeah, this book series is just amazing. I remember reading this book series, and when I was reading it in bed, I was like literally had to read some lines out loud to my boyfriend because I was like, look how good the writing is. This is why I love this book. And I was just reading him quotes and he was like, yeah, cool. And I was like, yeah, it is cool. Now we're moving on to my worst books of the year. These are going to be in order of which I read them. So, because I had to go through my Goodreads to see which one are my worst books of the year, because honestly, I unhauled all my worst books of the year because self-care is unhauling books that you just didn't love. Because why do you need to stare at them on your shelves if you did not love them? Starting with the first one that I read in January, and that is Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. The male main lead of this book is probably the most unlikable, insufferable male main lead I have ever read in my entire life. I genuinely, viscerally disliked this man because he was such a piece of shit. How is this a romance novel? Like, how? Where's the romance? This dude sucked. He was terrible. The thing he did to this girl, and the fact that she just like forgives him without like a valid apology for him. Like, he doesn't even apologize for what he does. He justifies it. And she's like, okay, yeah, I still love you. Let's get back together. Like, no. He was terrible. And I hated him. And this book had to be my worst book of the year just because I thought the whole story was dumb. The next book we have here is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix, which is so sad because a Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires sitting on my shelf right here is a 5-star read. Absolutely love it. But honestly, it's so sad because ever since I read that one Grady Hendrix books, all his other books have not been doing it for me. And this one was by far the worst one that I have read, though. How to Sell a Haunted House. Grady Hendrix rated it 2 stars, was so excited for it to come out, and was so disappointed because How to Sell a Haunted House, I don't want to give away spoilers, but what you think this book is about and then what it turns out to actually be about is not the same. And you go into it wanting it to be a haunted house story, turns into something different. I did not like the different thing that it turned into. And on top of that, I just didn't enjoy the characters. I didn't really enjoy our female main lead. I didn't enjoy our male main lead. They're like a brother and sister. They were both honestly unlikable. So just there was nothing enjoyable about reading from either of their perspectives. Well, I don't even think we read from both their perspectives. I think we just read from her perspective, but you know what I mean. Like, the brother was in it a lot. When he was there, not enjoyable. When she was there, not enjoyable. When they were together, not enjoyable. So yeah, disappointed, rated it 2 stars. The next book we have is The Retreat by Sarah Pierce, which honestly, I forgot entirely that I had even read this book until I started scrolling on Goodreads. I was like, wait, I read this book. Oh yeah, I remember. I hated this book. I do not remember anything about this book. Like, I genuinely forgot I even read it until I looked at Goodreads. So Cooper just pushed my tripod. I have nothing to say about this book. I just have to say that I remember reading it and hating it and wanting to DNF it, but I didn't. And honestly, is talking about self-care. I need to learn that DNFing books is part of self-care and to do that more. The next book we have is Beautiful Day by Ellen Hilderbrand, which is shocking, like genuinely shocking that an Ellen Hilderbrand book has made it to my worst books of the year, because 2022 was my year of Ellen Hilderbrand. I read 8 of her books and absolutely loved them. Like, I rated all her books 5 stars. I was utterly obsessed with her as an author. But Beautiful Day by Ellen Hilderbrand, I just did not care about any of the characters. I didn't really like any of the decisions they made. And I don't know, I was so bored. I just did not care. Like, just did not care at all. And that's really all I have to say. I rated it 2 stars. And I hope to never see Ellen Hilderbrand on my worst books of the year again, because I love this lady. Her books are amazing. The next book we have is The Club by Ellery Lloyd, another one that I kind of forgot that I read. I don't really have anything to say about it other than I just did not like it. What else is there to say? I just have bad memories of this. Next book we have is Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson, another 2-star rate. I'm just like too nice to rate things 1 star. It's like so rare for me to rate anything 1 star. So I will always give like minimum 2 stars. I think I have given a 1 star, but everything in general is a minimum 2-star read. This one being no exception. I rated it 2 stars, but oh my god, these characters were the most unlikable characters on the planet. And I just didn't care. Like, what was the point of this book? Like, genuinely, like, what was the point of this book? It was like slice of life with very unlikable people, and I was just like, what is the point? Don't know. If you love this book, please explain to me the point in the comments. Tell me why you loved it, because I am utterly baffled that people like this book. And the last book we have is Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead. I was so excited to read this book because I have been dying to read Ashley Winstead. She's very popular. People like her. She writes romance. She writes mystery thrillers. And this book I just disliked. And honestly, I think the reason that I disliked it, which is honestly my fault going into this book, knowing that this was the premise of the book, is I really hate reading about religion. Like, when religion is like controlling people, especially like a child in a very controlling parental household, and religion being a part of that. Like, I hate that. Like, I hate that. And I should have known, because this book takes place in the South. Her father is a pastor or a priest or whoever. So I should have known it was going to be that way. And I already knew I didn't really like that. I really read it just because it was Ashley Winstead. But on top of the fact that this book is just boring. Like, I just was bored during it. But it didn't help that I don't like it. Like, I don't know. There's certain things that I just don't like reading or watching. And that is religion, especially super controlling religion, super controlling conservative parents. I can't stand those storylines. Also, too, anything that involves the military, like in movies or books, I don't know why. I'm not interested. Like, maybe it's a fictional military, then yes, we're for it. Like a fantasy type of book, military vibe, like, yes, that's interesting. But if we're talking about like the US military, or honestly any other country's military, like, books told from those types of storylines, don't like those either. So again, this had tropes that I didn't like going into it. I read it anyway based on the author. I didn't enjoy myself, and I rated it 2 stars. So I feel like I was kind of harsh on those books, but you know what? We all have different reading tastes. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. These are just my opinions. If you love these books, all the more power to you. I wish I loved these books. Honestly, I want to love every book I read. It's not realistic, but I want to love every book that I read. So honestly, no hate to you if you love any of these books. Like, super happy for you, and I just didn't. So yeah, we are hoping for a better reading year in 2024, but I feel like I had a lot of favorites. I mean, talk about favorites. We had way more favorites than we had not favorites, so we love to see that at least. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your best and worst books were of 2023 in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!
It was a long time from where we started, day to day. I had this feeling